All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this Athenian Stranger tutorial video where today we are going to learn how to solve equations using the distributive property or solve using distribution. Okay, so let's consider a problem. We are given that negative 63 is equal to negative 3, open parentheses, 1 plus 4m, close parentheses. Okay? So, what do we do? Now, at this point, it is important that we discuss order of operations. And we do that using a clever acronym called PEMDAS. P-E-M-D-A-S. And what it stands for is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, in that order. PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. The common heuristic for remembering PEMDAS is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It's a mnemonic device that will help you remember. Please for parentheses, excuse for exponents, my for multiplication, dear for division, aunt for addition, Sally for subtraction. Okay, so now that we know that, we look at this problem and we see right away, I've got parentheses, so I've got to deal with those first. So we're focused in on the right side of the equation, and at this point it's important to remember that implicit in seeing a number next to a parenthetical expression like this, there is an implied multiplication right there. So it's not written, it's understood. Now, what do you do? Well, this is where the distribution takes place, and we'll actually draw that in. I still do this sometimes, so I remember just what I'm doing. I'm going to take negative 3 here and multiply it to each term inside the parentheses. Let me show you what that looks like. So on the left, I'll just rewrite negative 63 because we didn't do anything to the left side of the equation. And now on the right, I'll multiply negative 3 times 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. So I'll write negative 3. Now, negative 3 times 4m. Well, what do we do with that? Well, we multiply negative 3 times 4, which gives us negative 12. And then the m comes along for the ride, okay? So it's really multiplied by 4, but m just, the way to do it is to think it comes along for the ride. So let's see. Negative 3 times 4m is negative 12m, or if you want to be more precise, negative 12 times m. So let's just write that here, negative 12m. Now, understanding how to read this mathematical sentence is important. We are saying that negative 63 is equal to negative 3 minus 12m. This interchange or exchange where I'm using interchangeably the word negative and minus is much better understood when you're working with paper and pencil or pen and not with a calculator, because in a calculator, especially a graphing calculator, the negative symbol becomes extremely important in how you enter the problem. And we'll talk about that later, but right now I'm showing how to do it algebraically, symbolically on paper. So negative 63 equals negative 3 minus 12m. And if you want to help yourself out a little bit, if the negative symbol or the minus sign is the first thing that comes up, then you say negative, like negative 63 equals, here we go again, negative 3, and then the symbol here is in between the 3 and the 12, so we say minus. So negative 63 equals negative 3 minus 12m. Well, now what do? We remember our desire. What is our goal at all times? We're trying to isolate the variable on one side of the equation. M is the variable, so I've got to break it apart a little bit at a time. So at this point, my next step is to get rid of this negative 3. All right, I'm trying to isolate m, but I have to kind of do it in reverse order. So I'll add 3 to both sides. Because it's negative 3, I'll add 3. I'll do the opposite operation to whatever's currently being performed. And over here on the left, I'll also add 3. So we'll take the right first. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And negative 63 plus 3 is negative 60. Okay? So now we will rewrite what we have. We have negative 60 equals negative 12m. And now it is once again important to remember that when you see negative 12 right up against the m, there is an implied, understood multiplication that's taking place. So we have to ask ourselves, if we want to get m by itself, what do we need to do? Well, we currently have m being multiplied by negative 12, so the thing to do is to divide by negative 12. And I'll divide both sides by negative 12, because what I do to one side of the equals sign, I must do to the other side. And so on the right side, I have negative 12 divided by 12. Those cancel. And just remember, they're not zeros left behind. They're little tiny invisible ones that are just understood. They don't really mean anything, but it's not 0. Please do not think it's 0. So now, on the right side of the equation, I've achieved my goal of getting m by itself. Okay? Now I just need to handle the left side of the equation. You ask yourself, what is negative 60 divided by negative 12? Some of you are already thinking it's 5, but if you were having trouble with that, you could factor 60. Think about, what two numbers do you know that multiply to give you 60? And a lot of people, if you know your multiplication tables, you'll say, well, it's 5 and 12. Okay? So we know that negative 60 divided by negative 12 is just 5. So if you're one of those people who just wants to see the answer, it's 5. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and negative 60 divided by negative 12 is positive 5. If you're one of those people who want to see deeper, just take a moment here and watch this. I'm going to continue breaking down and factoring 60. So I'll factored 60 into 5 times 12, and now I'll continue factoring 12 into 3 times 4, and I'll factor 4 into 2 times 2. And then I'll take 12 and I'll do the same thing. Let me factor 12 into 3 times 4, and then further factor it into 2 times 2. Now I've got everything down to prime numbers. All these numbers are prime. 5, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. So one other way to do this, if you were really wanting to be complete about what you were doing, and this will become more important. Again, we've reached 5, we know it's 5, but let's just say what we could do here is we could also break down this negative 60 over negative 12 as negative, okay, and then open parentheses, and now I'll write 60 as the product of the primes. Negative open parentheses 5 times 3 times 2 times 2, close parentheses, and then over negative open parentheses 3 times 2 times 2. So this prime factoring technique is more advanced, and it also requires us to remember something, that when I see a negative symbol by itself, it's really a negative 1. Okay, so I've really got here negative 1 and negative 1. Okay, so what I can do first is I can cancel those negative ones. And remember, what's left behind is little ones, okay? What else can I cancel? I can cancel this 2 with this 2, and this 3 with this 3, and this 2 with this 2, okay? So the only number that's left is a 5. So if we want to be extremely verbose about how we're solving the problem, I have now 5 over 1, which just equals 5. And that's the factoring technique. So let's check our answer to make sure we were right. We think that m is 5. Okay, let's check it. Let's go back here and we'll do a check real quick. Because remember, we're not using a calculator, so we've got to check our work. We will rewrite the original problem, negative 63 equals negative 3, open parentheses, 1 plus 4m, close parentheses. Okay, and now we're going to substitute for m 5. So let's see what that looks like. We rewrite negative 63 because nothing happened to the left, and we're going to ask ourselves a question. Does negative 63 equal negative 3, open parentheses, 1 plus 4 times 5, close parentheses? Okay, that's what we want to know. So here inside the parentheses, we've got to do this multiplication first. So we'll rewrite negative 63 equals, again, question mark, negative 3, open parentheses, 1 plus 20. Okay, close parentheses, because 4 times 5 is 20. And now we continue, negative 63 equals, question mark, negative 3, and then add those two things. 1 plus 20 is 21. So negative 3 times 21. And if you don't know, let's do the math. 21 times 3. Okay, 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, so 21 times 3 is 63. And now I can write negative 63, no question mark this time, just equals 63. So I've proved that I'm right, and up here I am certain, so I'll put double checks everywhere and put m equals 5 in a box. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter if m equals 5 or 5 equals m, it's the same thing. Well, I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please like the video, leave a comment if you have a question, and if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you are always alerted to new videos on this channel. Thank you.